Hi everyone. I have been experiencing a bit of a tarot fatigue these few months, starting from the end of last year. While I have been trying to connect with my tarot practices by trying to do more of tarot challenges where I do not have to think of a question to ask every day. Sometimes I feel that I need something. When I try to ask my friends how they deal with tarot fatigue, I said that sometimes I ask in fun questions, which to me means that I do not have to have an action, to take action in accordance to what the answer of the tarot is, which is what I usually do in my usual practice. For example, like if I ask what's the advice for this month, so I will try to keep that in mind and to take action that I feel is in accordance to the advice. For fun questions, I gave my friends some examples of questions that I asked. They look at me very strangely and they say, actually that's not a fun question because that is actually deep questions. So I would just like to share what are some of the questions I asked in this video today, and also to share advice on how you all deal with tarot fatigue. Of course, when we all deal with tarot fatigue, the first thing to do is to not touch our tarot cards for maybe as long as it takes, as the time comes for us to feel okay to handle it again. I did do that for a few weeks, but then I will lose my touch with how I usually read the tarot. When I do this kind of fun questions, what I understand and what I communicate with my cards is that I know that whatever the tarot gives me is an answer I understand, because if my cards give me something that I do not understand, then I don't know what I do not understand, Answer will be something that I have read about. There might be some biases in how I interpret the questions, since the questions I'm asking are pretty deep from what my friends said. Take that into consideration as I shuffle my cards. Now I will give two or three examples of my fun questions and what the tarot gives me. And I find these sort of questions are very suitable for my Thoth tarot to answer. Cards are very layered, and I will start with one simple question that I ask, cause I just want to understand how does one of my, I call him my tarot teacher, even though he doesn't teach me any tarot knowledge. He encouraged me to read more for others and also to be more public in my dealings of tarot. So I understand that he doesn't believe in a god, but he believes in the concept of heaven, earth and man in terms of tarot, as in how we are all reflections of the macrocosm, and how can we execute our divine will on earth. He was sharing that sometimes he didn't know what sort of practices available to him as somebody who doesn't believe in God. And of course I will throw this question out to any viewers here who doesn't believe in a God but yet have a spiritual practice. You can share with me what you all do, so that I may advise him or help him as a thanks for encouraging me to be more open in my practices. I think that for us Singaporeans, this is one difficulty in trying to find a suitable spiritual practice, since we are quite a melting pot of cultures. What I can say for myself as a Singaporean is that although I'm an Asian, I may not have such a deep belonging to my cultures. In Singapore, although we do try to connect more with our culture, such as having mother tongue language campaigns to encourage us to speak more of our mother tongues, I still feel a disconnect when it comes to my belonging to my Chinese culture. I were to say that I'm an Asian, of course I'm very proud to be one. I did not realize that my phone didn't register my audio. I'm filming this stuff. Now I just going to jump to some of the fun questions I did for. The first one was for my tarot teacher. I asked what spirituality would be like for him who doesn't believe in God, and I used the position heaven, earth and man to represent his beliefs, to mirror his beliefs, and these cards are what I got. For heaven it is Four of Cups. For earth it is Nine of Cups. For men it is Princess of Discs. So when I first saw the spread, I was actually pleasantly surprised because heaven and earth are both cups. That means that they kind of mirror each other, which is what I would usually expect of these two components. And even more surprising is that the depictions really mirror each other as well. For Four of Cups, overflowing cups, and the Nine of Cups as well. Even though in the standard meaning, both cards overflowing means different things. This pool, I will look at it as a kind of a mirroring aspect of heaven and earth. However, this princess or the man is standing in an ocean of overflowing water. I see the man or my teacher bringing up the knowledge from these waters upwards and into himself. What I saw and made me very happy was that there's also Tao here, and he did learn some I Ching, Ba Zi, this Chinese metaphysics. When I see this card, I would think that he can leverage on his knowledge to build a spiritual practice of his own. And then there's this other fun question that I was asked when I met up with some of my tarot mates, whereby one person asked, where do souls come from? Okay, so it is a very fun question because I just need to know, and I don't need anyone to tell me to do something. When I pull three cards, these appear: Two of Swords, Sun, and Ace of Wands. So it is also a pretty surprising but not so at the same time. We often think of a soul or the source as coming from the light, and to have the sun and the pure element of fire here mirrors my belief and probably some of your beliefs as well. And then the duality aspect of souls coming down to earth to experience duality, light and dark, hope and fear. I can see that it kind of supports my belief that we come from a source that is very bright, very pure to experience duality. This is a sharing session on what I do for when I meet with tarot fatigue. If you all have any other things you all do to combat this sort of fatigue, please share with me as well. Bye.